Prominence is forward 1+2, and it is arguably the best move in the game. This move alone puts Clive way up the f***ing tier list. This move alone says, I'm not mid-tier because my prominence. What's up guys, TheMainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always. I thought we could just fucking improvise today and do the most fun video of all. Rate Clive Rosfield, the amazing guest character from Final Fantasy 16. I fucking love him, he's one of my mains now. I don't think I'm gonna put him above like Heihachi or Kazuya, but I fucking love the guy. Even made me try the Final Fantasy 16 demo on, on Steam because I like him so much. And then my amazing viewer Flambo gifted me the entire game. Huge thanks to him. And Final Fantasy 16 is actually pretty decent. I haven't played a Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy 8. That's how long my break has been, but yeah, it's a pretty fucking decent game. So, in this video, I'm gonna do a little bit of an update to my old tier list. If you haven't seen that video, it's like 2 hours and 40 minutes of me describing exactly how every character in this game operates. I hope my editor links that video on this one, preferably in the description, because I'm not going to talk for 3 hours this time. I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown of Clive. It's still super early, so take this with, 55 pounds of, salt. But I think the key thing to take into account here is that this guy seems so strong after only a few days, and we're still discovering so much awesome new tech every day that I feel like it's pretty inevitable that he's going to end up somewhere around here in the top 10. So I've placed him here. I'm gonna explain what makes him so fucking strong in case you don't know. And then I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown of the other characters, which it's very similar to the tier list I made, just a month ago, but I wanna give you a quick update on everyone. But let's just start with Lord Clive. I'm also gonna talk about the nerfs that I think he will inevitably get. But in terms of strengths, Clive is mid-range god. When Clive is at this range, there's literally no other character that does what he does. A lot of tournament players, they like space control. What we mean with space control, it's like dominating the 3D space 360 around the character. Tekken is all about movement, very fluid movement. Any type of movement can be cancelled into any other type of movement. And characters that have strong space control, like Bryan, you've probably seen Requiem, you've seen Mach Kick, you've seen Claudio do back one. They basically go, fuck your movement. Don't ever fucking try to step me because I'm one button away from just shutting down any movement you do. You can't backdash because I have so much reach. You can't sidestep because this move is homing. This guy does that playstyle better than any other character due to prominence. Prominence is forward 1+2, and it is arguably the best move in the game. This move alone puts Clive way up the fucking tier list. This move alone says, I'm not mid-tier because my prominence. The first hit here is homing. Basically homing. The second hit, you can step if the first hit whiffs. If that whiffs, you can actually step the second hit, but you're not gonna try that because you're basically gonna get fucked. Again, prominence is a perfect attack. It's -8 on block. It's a heat engager. It also wall splats. It does the dishes. It sucks you off. It gives you a reach around. It's just so fucking perfect. So again, homing, infinite range, mid, -8 on block. Of course, if I heat dash out of it, what's that? I get a full fucking launch. I don't know why. Maybe this move should have only given you a slump like this, like 1+2, but no, it's a fucking launcher when he's in heat. And again, yeah, wall splat. This move alone, god. Also to complement the neutral, we have back 2, and this is also an unbelievably strong button. You'll note the reach. This is also homing. It doesn't have a homing trail, but you can't step this move. Safe. But of course, the real issue with this move is that it's Phoenix Shift cancelable. On hit, it just guarantees a follow-up. And here there's just so much stuff Clive can do. At the wall. And again, we have a wall splash situation, right? The thing is, like, he has probably the best heat engagers in the game. Like, back 2 is, in all intents and purposes, this is a heat engager because he gets a guaranteed Phoenix Shift 1+2. And again, probably best heat engagers in the game. 13 frame Demon Breath. Safe on block. -9. Heat engager. Phoenix Shift 1+2. This move is also basically homing. And safe on block. -7. Can't step this shit. And it has also so much reach. So again, I'm just trying to say mid-range god. And back to unblock, +6 Phoenix Shift. If we try and do anything, you have Phoenix Shift 1, which is a Power Crush. Fire and Flame, which does a lot of damage. Titan. Back 1+2. You've probably seen this move a few times already. Again, I'm gonna try and speed up my explanation. I don't want this video to be half an hour long, but it's important to stress. This guy mid-range is like no other character. Like, he'll do this, Titan, and you note the range, and I'm -14 to -13. But are you gonna punish me here on -13? Probably not, right? Are you gonna punish this, Kazuya? Mid-range utility on this character is beyond God mode. Here already, you see a character that's like, okay, is he A tier or is he S tier? He's not gonna be mid tier, that's for sure. In terms of mid-range, he also has strong whiff punish. Anything is whiffed, he'll do for free. It has a very low hitbox, so even if opponent is doing something that's very evasive, like Xiaoyu goes into a low stance or whatever, this is gonna connect. Also has low evasion. So the whiff punish is also strong. His combos are very good. Let's just show you a goddamn system and stuff. I just got a 4-4-2 counter it, which is an Odin sword attack. This is basic staple for wall travel. That's 90 damage, right? 90 damage into wall combo. I wanted to show you the infinite wall travel as well, but again, I'm playing with a little bit of delay. Let's just do this. Bagoo. So that's the infinite wall travel. That alone tells you this character has strong combos. He has strong combos. Another reason he's very strong is that Clive and Leroy have enhanced god parries because their ball sacks are so massive and filled to the brim with testosterone. So they can parry fucking anything. When Clive does that, or Leroy does they can parry anything, including weapon strikes and knees and elbows. But your typical parries in Tekken can't do that. They can't parry fucking weapons. They can't parry elbows. So what happens then when someone charges you with fucking sword attacks? You can't parry it. Tons of unparryable attacks. That's a big deal. Especially having this move, full crouch down for 2. Note the reach. Note the reach. 18 damage on a normal hit. That's very chunky for a low. It is only -12 on block, but best of all, it is unparryable. You can't low parry this. You can't low parry this low because it is a weapon strike. It's a sword strike. And then we can go into stance mix-ups. This character in general doesn't have the best poking. Insane big Tekken. Big sword strikes, mid-range, you know, reach, space control. But small Tekken, which is poking, not that good. Not as good. A bit of a stubby jab, right? Bit of a stubby down for 1. It's also 14 frame startup, -3 on block. The follow-ups, not that great. But the reality of this character, though, is that it's still pretty fucking decent, his small Tekken. It's not that bad. You know, down 1 is a pretty good low. Like, while standing 4 is a poke into Phoenix Shift mix-up. 1-1 jails. 1-1 jails. And down for 1, like, that's a natural string. He doesn't do small Tekken like the top 5, etc., right? Like Jin 214, or you know what Nina can do. But he's still surprisingly decent at it. I can see the design philosophy of the developers, like, oh, mid-range, you know, this not that good. But it's still surprisingly decent. Still surprisingly decent. Strong stance mix-ups. You know, you'll do 2-2. 2-2 can go into Phoenix Shift. 2-2-2 is safe. -9. Can set up Phoenix Shift mix-up. 1-1 Phoenix Shift. While standing 4 Phoenix Shift. Back 2 guarantees Phoenix Shift. Down for 1-2 Phoenix Shift. Mostly you'll do back 2 on block into Phoenix Shift mix-up. But here, you know, can 50-50 with Torgal. Can floor break. Torgal wall breaks. You have a safe heat engaging mid here that cannot be stepped. That's safe on block to mix up with. When he's in heat, it gets super disgusting. Suddenly you throw... I just want to show you mix-up utility. Suddenly Phoenix Shift gets 2 1+2. Huge chip. +4 on block. 4-2-2-1 is a dumb string. +2 on block. Even if you don't charge it, it's +2 on block. This string, I think, is going to get nerfed. That's the guard break, right? Guard break. But even if you don't charge it, it's +2 on block. And this can't be sidestepped. It can't be interrupted. The only counterplay is Rage Art or Power Crush. And that's not enough counterplay, in my opinion. They should be able to step this. In heat, you get slapped by back 2. That's guaranteed, right? And his heat damage is absurd. Early on, I felt his lows weren't that good, but he has great lows. I really underestimated him. He has great lows. Like down 1, a ton of reach. Unseeable, evasive. +2, puts him in crouch. So here, uninterruptible while setting 4 mix-up. Or you take this low. Not bad at all. Down back 4 has a lot of reach and a lot of tracking. A lot of reach, a lot of tracking, +4. -18 on block. No stagger though. He doesn't stagger. And then counter it launch. It's a counter it launcher. That's a very good low. And again, I explained full crouch down for 2 is an incredible low. Downsides outside of stubby pokes, small Tekken, is he doesn't have a throw game. He has range issues on some punishes, and this basically ties into the stubby poking. Like, his 10 frame, you need to be pretty close for it to work, but it does do 25. Due to it being an Odin attack, most of the health is recoverable though. Something I've noticed though that is super dumb about his 10 frame is that any matchup where I like to step to the left, which is quite a lot of matchups at the wall, a lot of people don't know this, but now it's a wall splat. You need a decent step though. I've had this happening in quite a few matches. You step left. Again, it's a little bit situational, but the fact that this even works at all is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. The same stubbornness applies to his 14 frame punish, which uses his down for 1, right? Which is down for 1-2-1. And his 12 frame is 2-1. And again, it's not bad, but you'll note that it's just a little bit like, fuck. Most characters have more reach on their 12 frame. Should you use Zantetsuken, you'll rely a bit on attacks that give a lot of recoverable health, like your 1-2. Your 442 only deals chip damage on hit. That's completely unique to Clive. Or you set up this health sweep. So a lot of recoverable health you have to give your opponent. But in the end, when you've made those sacrifices, you get access to, you know, Zantetsuken, which is a rage art on top of your rage art. But unlike a rage art, you can access it at any time, right? And it does a fuck ton of damage and no recoverable health, right? So suddenly when you've built up 5 bars, you're always threatening your opponent with a pretty huge combo ender, right? This is just as basic combo as it gets, right? And it's still gonna do a fuck ton of damage and no recoverable health. I feel like I've explained the character now. I just want to say that I think he's going to get nerfs. I think forward 1+2 is going to get nerfed. They'll make it so that it can be stepped to one side. Titan is going to get nerfed. I think it's going to either take additional frames to recover. They'll make it like -16 or something. Or it's going to have less pushback or less range. Something along those lines is going to happen. I also think this string is going to get nerfed. We're going to make it like steppable or slower, or not make it +2 on block, because it's too easy right now to just chain this stuff. It's really abusable, in my opinion. This is also a counter its strength. It's a counter its strength, right? You know, and again, 422 so strong. Note the reach, right? It's almost infinite reach. You do 422 and you're safe. -8, I give up my turn, right? But the thing is, I'm threatening with such a counter hit from that range. Because if I see it counter hit, you'll add the rest, right? And you get a huge heat engager. And we could also mention 442 counter at launch and also pile driver. Very important. Mid counter hit that is homing. That's a mid counter hit launcher. 22 frame startup. -6 on block with pushback. Homing counter hit launcher also acts like a steel pedal with the pancake flip. And has a gigantic hitbox. Oh, I'm surprised it's swift. That's it. That's me explaining Clive. And I think due to all of that, he could possibly end up here. I would say he's at least like top 12. I do think when all pro players start placing him, you'll see him top 10 or like top 15. Is my guess right now. But also, we're still very early. More things could be discovered. But yeah, super strong character. And then I wanted to do something really cool. So I just wanted to tell you guys about the other characters and like what has happened to them, in my opinion, if I rate them higher or lower. I would say Claudio is definitely up on this list, and this is mostly due to his tournament presence lately. The guy is fucking everywhere. He's inside your asshole as well. If you would just take a look right now, yeah, and use a flashlight because he's a small man, Bolognese. I think I explained it properly in my tier list. It's just his heat is so busted, and if Prominence is not the best attack in the game, I think his DP is the best move in the game. If you don't know. Claudio does down back 1+2 either in heat or when he has starburst. Heat is basically infinite starburst, but as soon as he has starburst, he'll do down back 1+2. Super evasive, 17 frame startup, right? I think, or 18. DP, mid natural hit launcher, steel pedal, hits grounded, pancake flip, super evasive, natural hit launcher, -2 on block. I think it could be the best move in the game. But so he is up. You know what? He's probably, I think I put him top 3. So Claudio. Dragunov slightly down. He's down one placing. And it is simply because of a last balance patch. They did do some notable things to the character. I think Jin is stronger now than Dragunov. I know Jin mains are going to hate me for this one. So Jin, It's gonna be up a little bit. Jin is extremely strong. He is, I mean, this has been talked to death, but he's basically perfect. I'm not gonna do a rundown of everything he can do, but he's basically a flawless character. He's only held back by his pilot, to be honest. If a pilot is super good with electrics and movement, punish, spacing, mix-ups, if you ever lose with this character, you have a problem, in my opinion. And then we have more of a specialized character. Yoshi is sort of where I placed him last, so these two are just gonna get a neutral one here. Yoshi is an absolute god. He's more specialized than, you know, Jin and Nina. Jin and Nina are more all-round. Dragunov is more all-round. Claudio is not... He's all-round, but his poking is not the best. Perfect, basically. This guy is not perfect. Also stubby poking. Doesn't have a power low, a hell sweep style attack. Of course, it does an unblockable sword sweep instead, but again, that's not a hell sweep. That's a completely unique button. So he has issues, but then he's so unbelievably broken with his combos. His Oki is the best in the game. Did I mention Flash? Unblockable sword sweep. Too much damage considering the tools he has. I just think the only thing you have to say about this character is super broken launch into super broken damage, recovers all of his health into super broken kin tech trap or forward 1+2 Oki. That's really the only thing I need to say about this character. And I really hope that is toned down in Season 2. I would really like that. Law, I think, is somewhat similar to where I put him last. I think Alisa is also somewhat similar. My opinion of Shaheen has gone up. Again, it's a character no one really gives a shit about, but also is pretty perfect. I can't really think of any downsides to playing him. And has the ultra obnoxious guard break utility when he is in heat. And he has incredible attacks in terms of removing your recoverable health, which is a really big deal in this game. So you can just almost at will shut down all of your comeback utility. He has so many great ways of making all of his damage permanent. And also is one of the owners of the Ultra, you know, Tekken 8 patented trademark, or here's my safe high, Heat Engager Power Crush. Ultra strong basic Tekken, has a good 50-50. He's just super good, And I think Feng Wei is somewhat similar, or is he down a notch? Anytime Feng Wei is not in top 5, I feel like we say he's down a notch. Although I do think this is similar to where I put him last. He doesn't have a combo damage. Don't get me wrong, if he lands a heat smash, he does what Jin does, right? In terms of take it to the wall into 1,000,000 damage, but you have to be able to do a lot of damage just getting a basic launch. And I feel like outside of these characters, he definitely has the most shitty combos in terms of wall travel and just generic damage output. I think his heat also is not as abusable as other characters' heat. Kokoma loved to downplay his 50-50 utility. He has crazy 50-50 utility, but not in heat. That was nerfed pretty substantially. He's still an amazing character. He can still do pretty much anything. I just think he is, out of these characters, he might be the one that's the most difficult to play optimally. As crazy as that might sound. King has dropped slightly on my tier list. I hold this character very high due to having down for 2-1, which is a completely busted attack. He also has counter it throw utility, which is crazy in this game. His blue spark throws on counter it are largely unbreakable. It's 7-frame break window. Impossible unless you have to preemptively mash the throw break. Has insane combos, has insane Oki. Any Shining Wizard you eat mid-air, you know, he ends the combo with Jaguar running power bomb. The Oki situation there with forward 4 or ground throw is dumb as fuck. His heat smash is dumb as fuck. His RKO is reactable to a great player, but yeah, if you're playing online, you can't react to it. His muscle armor is super strong. His poking is really good. He just lacks a bit in the low department, and his tracking is not that scary anymore. He was like top 5 early Tekken 8 when throws were homing, but now if he shuts down your stepping with forward 4, which is not super scary. He's still really good, but I think it says something that the only dude that bothers with him in tournament play is someone who has Yeah, like, you know, the biggest ball sack you're ever gonna see. Trust me. And it's the John, and he's amazing. If a character was so dumb that he ends up here, you'd probably see more people try and tier whore with him. Has to be said though that he's always been a tricky character to play, so a lot of people are gonna stay away from him due to that reason. But so King goes down a little bit. Kuma goes up. Could be higher on this list. Is he the only character to win 2 Tekken World Tours? Super broken damage. The most broken damage in the game. It's not Bryan, it's this guy. Straight up broken damage. Season 2 has to remove down from 1 to 1+2 into bare ass. Does too much damage. Too many people are still under the impression that that Kuma is low tier. He's not. I was happy for Rangchu winning, but it was funny seeing how many people would tell me afterwards, like, don't you find it so cool that a low tier character wins Tekken World Tour again? And I'm like, what makes you think this character is low tier? There are pro players who think he's top 10, and they have a great argument for it. This time around, he has great counter hit launchers with infinite reach into giga broken damage. This character, how many rounds did you see Rangchu counter hit launch someone with back 4-2-1, do 80%, and now the opponent wakes up to the best, arguably the best heat in the game? Oh, Bear Godfist, no execution, no counterplay. You can only look at him. There's nothing you can do. And he can do a ton of them because they take so little heat energy. And then they inevitably mix you with either his guard break or a 13 frame startup heat smash that's super evasive and hits grounded and has a ton of reach. His chip damage is absurd, but his heat is so broken. It's so broken. And then his disgusting hitboxes give everyone combo problems. Devil Jin literally can't play into Kuma because his Hell Sweep doesn't give any follow-ups anymore at the wall. Only him and Jack will do that. And all of his laser combos don't work on him. It's like this plot armor, this built-in nature bear defense. This is how hurt boxes work in Tekken, so not hit boxes, but there's hurt box for your legs, like this. Then you have one for your torso, and then your head has a hurt box, like this. The way it works on Kuma, and only Kuma, by the way, is that here is his hurt box for his belly. It's here. Here is his hurt box for his legs. Here. And here's the hurt box for his head. I shit you not. This is how it works. What this leads to happening when you do high attacks is that Devil Jin will do his shackle. He'll stand here and he'll do his shackle. This, for some reason, will not connect because the hitbox for the head is so small and it's so far back that if you do shackle, load up practice mode and do this, do shackle into Kuma's head and it will go right through his head and it won't connect. Same thing happens on Jack. But the thing that happens on Kuma that does not happen on Jack is the leg hitbox being all the way back here. And this is the nature bear defense. This leads to, when you do lows, like hell sweeps, etc., into Kuma, like here, in a very weird way, constantly whiff because his leg hurt box is not where it should be. So lows will naturally whiff with great consistency against Kuma. And Kuma has a good backdash. So Kuma will do one backdash back, and basically you cannot threaten him with lows anymore. I don't need to get into what this hitbox plus this hitbox, what they lead to in terms of... I don't know what the fuck that is, but it looks super good. What this leads to in terms of your combos. These two hurt boxes together lead to most of staple combos in the game not working on Kuma. Like, Rangchu is an amazing player. He's an incredible player, but so much of that fucking bullshit still plays in and has an effect at the highest level of play in Tekken. When he won the Tekken World Tour in 2018, I don't know how many times I saw Ni, Kudans, like guys who've been playing Tekken for 20 years just drop combos against him. Because they're like, really? That whiff? They still get caught off guard by dumb shit like this. And no character wins more online. Best win-loss ratio. because he's so fucking stupid. So stupid. Similar. Bryan, extremely strong. This is already a 40-minute video. Watch my tier list. I explain this character in super high detail. Tiny green arrow, because he did get buffed recently. Down to as a better hitbox in terms of tracking. Incinerator, they made sure you can never step a final hit now. Thank you for that, Baina Namco. I mean, I love this guy, but I'm not sure you needed to do that. That's it. Yeah, and again, I don't think that was needed. So tiny green arrow. Sort of the same. Extremely strong character. Extremely basic. Disgusting lie stance mix-ups. You know, you can only take a guess. Does a ton of chip damage. Outside of Clive, some of the best space control in the game and mid-range, you know, with his swords. Very strong, very basic, super easy. His combos deserve mentioning. I'm sure you've seen the AK wall-to-wall reverse. Infinite wall travel. In terms of wall travel in this game, Lars, Victor, Clive, Lee, probably the best wall travel in the game. I think it's somewhat similar. I explain him in super high detail in my list, but just an incredible character, as long as he is allowed big wind-ups. It's like Clive, you know, big wind-ups. It's just that he does not have a space control Clive has, even though he has Devil Fist. Devil Fist is not prominence. Stubby poking, no poking. No poking. And then super strong 50-50, super strong Oki. Anytime he Okis or 50-50s, he's basically the best character in the game. His heat is one of the best in the game. It's easily top 4 or something like that. You know, we still have Law, we still have Kuma. But he has enough drawbacks to put him here. And also, he is only as strong as his pilot, like, for sure. Reina is somewhat similar, extremely tricky to play. It's sort of a 50-50. Waifu spammer is one half, but the second half is is a very complicated character, you know, pseudo Mishima. When her Raiden, that's forward for 2, when that was vanilla, like when it was basically homing, this character was like, you could say top 5. But as soon as they nerfed that attack, I feel like she lacks a little bit of space control. It feels now clear that the purpose of a character is to make it in, and now she's super oppressive. I feel like that really hurt her though. Raiden is still a great button, but it can be stepped now to both sides. And it's not that difficult if you're strong with timing. And I feel like her launchers outside of electric are not the best. And yeah, again, very difficult to play. I think she's somewhere around the strength of Kazuya due to... She has no lows, but she has Hell Sweep, which is still enough. So she has good mix-up utility. And her rushdown is just that strong. The poking is really good if she keeps it to mids and highs. But I don't know, in the end, I just feel like the character is too much work. But I feel like this is a character that's really gonna shine once we see nerfs to this crowd, right? Then we have strong characters in Lili, sort of the same. Hwoarang. God damn it, did Edge really make this character pop at Tekken World Tour. Was so cool to see. Was so cool to see. Yeah, I just want to keep it short on these characters because we already have a tier list where we've talked a lot about them, and I feel like we should wrap this up soon. Lili is just similar to my initial thoughts, so I would just watch my 3-hour tier list again. It's going to be linked in the description. Hwoarang is similar. Edge played him really well at Tekken World Tour. Really made him pop. But to be honest, this is mostly due to Edge being an absolute god Giga Chad that you're going to see much more of soon. As soon as he switched to Shaheen, I almost felt like he played better. And you know he spent 90% of his time on this guy and 10% of his time on this guy. It just tells you that Hwoarang is not here, in my opinion. Yeah. And then June, somewhat similar. Still a very solid and strong character. And again, you know, this time I divided around top 5. Very strong, strong, mediocre. There are no weak characters in this game. She's strong. She just lacks a couple of tools like power low. I feel like her poking is not that good. Sacrifices some health to do big things. Still a very strong character. Zafina, bullshit evasion. Fuck you. Steve, somewhat similar. Just doesn't... I mean, again, Arslan put him way higher, but I see amazing Steve players in tournaments and I see them struggle. And I think it's because The character requires too much you pressing into him, and he has no real comeback utility, which I think is super important for tournament play. There's just no easy mix-ups with this guy. And in Lionheart, you take big risks to get things going. Heihachi has had no real tournament success. I gotta say, I fucking called it. But this is somewhat similar to my last placing of a character. And this one is interesting because he's also very new. He only released a few months ago. But he is way, way too demanding to play. He's probably the hardest character in the game. Every button you press, you gotta think long and hard about it. He has arguably the highest execution in the game. But what really is a problem on this guy, if you want to play him in tournaments, is super high execution, pretty stubby poking, and then no real neutral control. The opposite of space control. Literally the opposite of Clive. If you commit to any button in the neutral that has reach, you know goddamn well it's gonna lose to a sidestep. And I've seen people try to play him in tournaments like cooldowns, Joka, and it's almost frustrating to watch. Not someone you're gonna see a lot in tournaments, I think. Which is a shame because he actually is really cool. Somewhat similar, or did I put him higher this time? 4-2 is a really cool move. It's a 13 frame heat engager with good range, only -5 on block, can go under jabs if placed properly. And we know in Season 2, we're buffing his damage yet again because we're giving him a tailspin. I think he's going to be going up, but he's still going to have the problems Paul always has in that poking, not that good, it's too honest. He's just sluggish to get going. And still, while standing 1-2 into sway is good. Down for 1, sway. Those are good moves. I feel like if he were in Tekken 7 still, he'd be great. But he's so overshadowed by what these guys can do. But I feel like if you look at Paul in a vacuum, you're like, oh, look, he's got some great tools here. But the problem is everyone has that and then some, you know. But that's the name of this game. It's like Devil Jin, that charge-up punch, right? Azucena is going to be somewhat similar. Coffee, caffeine. How do you pronounce that in English? I don't know. Coffee, Peru, boobs, likes to dance. Look, pretty, very pretty, charming, bubbly personality. A lot of tournament presence. Very easy. Loops his 50-50 mix-ups. The 50-50s are strong. You know, also benefits from bullshit, heat engager, safe power crush. Underrated combos, I would say. Actually has good combos in this game, especially compared to Tekken 7, where he basically did not have combos. But very unremarkable character outside of that. Jack has gone up a little bit on my list, I think. Again, very unremarkable character. I just want to say that I said this is fucking mediocre, right? This means these characters can fucking compete. Every character in Tekken 8 has some bullshit. It's just that they're pretty unremarkable compared to these characters, in my opinion. But now that I say that, it's like Heihachi's pretty mediocre as well. But I put him here due to the damage output. His damage output is obscene. Jack has some cool stuff. Leo, I didn't say anything about Leo in my last tier list, I think. Pretty all-round and honest character in the end, although I lose to this character a lot because I don't know the matchup. I just don't care that much for the character. But has good tools. In down for 1+2 is one of the best lows in the game. Now, down for 2+3, that's what I said, right? Only -12 on block. Evasive, unseeable low counter at launcher. Good frames on hit, right? Is it +4 on hit? And has a strong down for 2. Has strong mid to low mix-ups. Has a hell sweep that can wall splat. Has strong mids. Has strong evasion, has a Kempo, has a Bok into a safe mid launcher. Has a lot of good stuff. Like, this character is probably pretty slept on, I think. It's just that no one gives a shit about this character. If more people played Leo, I think maybe the character would shine more. It's just that the problem now is that it's only Io Richie that wants to play the character. I think if more people devoted time, I think you'd see this character shine more. Leroy is very unremarkable. Excels in stance mix-up rushdown, just like Lidia, just like Eddy. Stance rushdown into 50-50. It's funny because I feel like this thing everyone is saying about Tekken 8, this buzzword. Oh, 50-50 stance rushdown, I hate this game! It's funny because that's basically Lidia and Eddy. And Xiaoyu. Wait, did I skip Xiaoyu? I took her down a little bit. Has 0 presence in tournaments. There was one guy playing her at Tekken World Tour that had qualified. Xiaoling, that guy is really good. The reason this character gets to be up here is due to heat. If you see the Ling players play her, they launch you, then they pop their heat, and then they do an enhanced wall combo, and then it's hypnotist mix-ups. That's the entire character in Tekken 8. Used to be pretty sophisticated. That's all she is in this game. Outside of heat, this character has decent stuff, but it's not remarkable, and it's actually quite tricky to play well. Has to be said. But the heat is completely brain dead. Contrasting her to Eddy and Lidia, which are both stance rushdown bullshit 50-50, right? Especially Lidia in heat. It's just the most brain dead 50-50 rushdown. It's just that outside of their heat, they're not remarkable. Mediocre. Outside of heat, she still has a lot of nice utility. So that's a nice contrast between these characters. But he's sort of the same. Lidia, I have a slightly higher opinion of, and it's just because of how dumb her heat 50-50 is, but just, yeah, outside of that, there's nothing remarkable. Devil Chin, I'm sort of at the same position here. I gotta say, though, I don't want to see buffs to these characters. I just want to see nerfs here. I've said it a couple of times on stream, but like Devil Chin is just a few buffs away from being a complete fucking nightmare to play against. He's literally 2 buffs away from being like, I never want to play against him again. And I get scared when Devil Jin mains say and Momo say, he should have a down food one that is neutral on block with a mid counter hit launching follow-up. And I'm just like, do you really want that on a character that has that type of combos, damage, setups, that charge up attack at the wall into that vortex at the wall? Do you really want that character to have a competitive down forward one? I would never want to play against Devil Jin again. Ever. I would contemplate fucking plugging on loading screen, to be honest. Like, so be very, very careful what you wish for in this game. Be very careful, because these guys have some deadly shit. Give them a few buffs and it's like, it could very quickly turn into a fucking horse shit situation. Lars, somewhat similar opinion. I'm much more in favor of Lars getting a buff than I'm Devil Jin. Lars is too gimmicky in a bad way and has no real mix-up utility. Does not have a bullshit charge-up punch. Relies too much on you pressing into him. More of a defensive character. Mix-ups are option selectable. Lee, somewhat similar opinion. Just relies too much on you pressing into him. Just struggles to open up turtles. I don't find his lows or 50-50 utility good. He has no throw mix-up. He has no abusable strings. He has no abusable stances. Everything to do with offense on this character is super calculated, in my opinion. Has some nice combos, though. And nice, very nice wall utility. But in my opinion, just unremarkable. Unremarkable. And I have a very hard time seeing anyone play him in tournaments. Raven, a little bit too gimmicky for his own good. Just doesn't have the frames. And you know someone's pretty honest. Like, I don't like playing against Raven. I don't see him often. He's pretty gimmicky. But you know someone's pretty fucking nice to you in this game when they spam their heat attacks on you. And the heat attacks are -4. Doesn't have any standout mechanics or attacks. He has some nice parry utility. 1-frame startup parry, but Asuka, again, just lackluster offense. And this character is, yet again, completely redundant because Kuma exists. This is basically what I wanted to get into with this tier list. It's just a really quick, like, Clive, where is he at? Where do I see him? He is our new golden boy. Fucking love him. And then the other characters, just a super quick, like, have I changed my mind on certain characters? Quick update, quick mention. Yeah, but, pretty happy with the list. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks for listening to me. Bye bye.